Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we finally get to take a look at this Leyte Golf event and how you can actually get the Tennessee as well as Enterprise perhaps. This is going to be a deeper dive into the monetization for this ship. I've also got some really fun games that I've had in the Tennessee that we'll look at towards the end of this video. But for now, we gotta take a look at this event because I'm worried, guys. I'm very, very worried about this event. First off, glad that you can actually buy the Tennessee outright. Very good. It's not gambling only. I like that. That's good. However, it's an Admiral bundle only. So it's $129 Canadian. You know, our dollar's not the best, but it's a lot of money. And you get all this useless junk. It's not useless, I know, but it's useless junk. You want the ship. That is all you're looking for. And they're forcing you to buy all this extra. And that means you're spending a lot more on a tier 8 ship than you otherwise would. A standard tier 8 battleship is probably around 12,500 doubloons or 65 bucks, so half cost. Black Friday coming up means for around 8,000 doubloons you can get these tier 8 battleships, so maybe $45, $50 or so. That's not great. We don't know if Massachusetts B is coming back, but for 50 bucks to get a Massachusetts B or to get the Tennessee for 130, I don't know, man. That's a pretty steep price. To be fair to Wargaming, though, you can get this ship for free. And this is where I'm extremely worried about this event. You participate in these separate mission chains here, and they unlock periodically, much like you would see on a Dockyard or a Battle Pass in other games. But this time, we can't see how difficult it's going to be as you progress. We only know this first mission chain, and it looks reasonable. It looks very reasonable. So surely it's going to be fine, right, guys? This looks totally fine. 6,000 base XP, 600 ribbons, 15 destroyed or Citadel hits, spotting damage, or 10 captured. You get these in order, and you're done for the week, right? And then next time, you're going to get a new mission chain, and you got to complete all of them to get this ship for free. Sounds great, but I'm so very worried anytime Wargaming hides what the requirements are to actually get through the Dockyard or the Battle Pass or the mission chain, the web campaign. And Tennessee's only available for a week. 6 days is all we have from the time of recording, and this video goes out a day later. So you have 5 days. I don't like it, man. At least it's available for direct purchase, but it's double the cost of what it should be, and you don't know what those later mission chains are going to be. So you might be someone thinking, I can do this, I can get it for free, I play the game. But we don't know how extreme those missions are going to be towards the end. Remember Puerto Rico originally? There's plenty of times where Wargaming has made the requirements for the mission chains exponentially increase towards the end. And I'm worried that's going to happen here. I don't know that. I don't know that for sure. To anybody from Wargaming watching, I'm just speculating because you haven't given us information. I can't go off of what I don't know. So I have to talk about this like it's going to be insane to actually get this ship for free, because your track record states that you're not really wanting to give these things away for free. And the real reason here is 6 days means if you don't buy it, you say, oh, I'll get it for free in the mission chain, and then perhaps you don't end up managing to finish it. Something comes up, real life happens. Your only other recourse is to try and get it in the premium containers. And at that point, it's just gambling, right? It's FOMO mechanics and gambling. And I just gotta say, I really dislike that. Why isn't Tennessee available throughout the entire event? Why? I don't see any reason not to, other than to prey on FOMO mechanics, which is fear of missing out. Preying on human psychology. I don't like that. Other things to consider here is, yes, you get a guaranteed ship drop on the 40th container when buying these containers. But that means it's any of these ships. It's not that there's only Enterprise and Tennessee here. You actually have a guaranteed of this entire roster of ships. And if we look back here at the chances, well, your guaranteed drop is more likely going to be from ships you're not as interested in compared to Tennessee or Enterprise. It's a much, much lower chance. Alongside this event, you get the interesting looking camos, but you do need these Leyte tokens, and you'll get some of them by playing through, but again, the wording, man, maybe I'm being too critical here, but I really dislike the way Wargaming is wording some of this. When it comes to earning these tokens, they talk about it in the containers down here, where these containers are also a reliable source of Leyte tokens. I really dislike this wording. I think perhaps this is translation issue, although it's been so long that it really shouldn't be a translation issue. This is a terrible way to word this. Reliable sounds like you have a guaranteed drop of tokens in these containers, and you just don't. That is not how these premium containers work. They're not even in the non-premium containers, but it's an 8% drop on one of the 3 items. You get 3 slots in these containers. 1 slot here, you get an 8% chance. Slot 2, you get a 17% chance. That's where the ship slot is as well, by the way. But much more likely are you going to be getting free XP, Elite Commander XP, or credits. And then the 3rd slot is another 8%. You're not guaranteed them. Reliable is a weird word to use for that. You have a chance to get them. I could be being too nitpicky here, but I just don't like it when they hide so much of this event from us. I didn't even know this was the price until today. And typically, when I'm informed of new ships upcoming as a CC, they usually tell us the price. Why didn't they say it this time, right? I just feel like there's a little too much secrecy going on, and especially because this is not like a Dockyard. It's framed to look like a Dockyard, a battle pass, something that you progress through over time, but it's very, very different. For one, you cannot buy the ship outright at the end like you could in the Dockyard. On Okendo here for an example. The other thing to consider is even if they allowed Tennessee to be available for direct purchase all the way through event, which I think they should, let's say that they did, it's still different because every phase you complete is getting you a discount towards buying the ship outright. If you don't finish the web campaign, and let's say the ship is available for sake of argument towards the end all the way through the event, all your progress isn't getting you a discount on buying the ship outright. It's still that same upfront cost. It's just much worse than a Dockyard. And that's really being charitable and saying they're going to let the Tennessee be available all the way through the event, which they're not. And maybe they let you know how difficult the different phases will be, which they're not. And the last thing to really talk about when it comes to the monetization of this event is got to be Enterprise. They're plastering Enterprise all over this. This is one of those ships that was removed from the game from being too strong, and you haven't been able to buy it for years now. They're plastering it all over there as marketing, trying to get people excited to buy into it. Of course, it makes sense, right? Enterprise here will only be available after completing the additional mission chain. What does that mean? What does additional mission chain mean? Does it mean it's an additional mission chain after completing all of the Tennessee mission chains? Or is it at the end of getting the Tennessee for free here? Do you get the ability then, the privilege, let's say, to even buy the Enterprise? I'm not sure. I don't know how it works. I don't know why I don't know. Why don't I know how it works? Shouldn't I know how it works? Shouldn't they be telling us how it works? I don't understand. Maybe it's after the 5 mission chains? I don't know. 6 mission chains? Maybe I'm being too hard on it, but it feels like I'm being left in the dark here as a CC, and that the way it's being monetized, the limited access to even buying it outright, it feels like they're just trying to appease me here, or the community here, by saying, look, it's available as a direct purchase, but only for a short time. I don't know, man. And then they're calling it a free ship with this event everywhere, so then you're less likely to buy it outright before you even realize how much the ship is going to cost in time and effort to play the game, because we have no idea. Again, we have no idea what the resulting mission chains are going to be towards the end of this event. This first one is absurdly easy. It's just ridiculously easy, right? I don't understand, man. It feels wrong. Something feels off. And maybe the worst part about this entire thing is that I really, really like Tennessee, guys. Playing it so much this week, I've basically only been playing Tennessee and having an absolute blast. I would love to be able to recommend this for everyone to get. If I knew that the event was easy to grind out for free, I would just tell you to go for it. Or if it was difficult, I would say it's probably worth the upfront cost of a tier 8 premium ship to get this thing. It's so unique. I'm absolutely loving the accuracy on this ship. Dev strikes everywhere if you're aiming well and positioning your ship correctly. It is compromised. It's super slow speed, it's got a low HP pool, and of course only has 32 millimeters of armor. I mean, just look at that first blood dev strike. It's so fun. And I maybe didn't make that as clear as I should have in my first video. Sometimes I don't do the best job of explaining myself. I do apologize, always trying to do better. But when it comes to this ship, I talked a lot about wanting it to have a raised citadel and be a little bit worse concealment. And that was really only in regards to my desire of what this game would be in a perfect world. In my perfect dream world, I suppose, where there's so much less overmatch for cruisers to deal with, but there's also so many more citadels against broadside ships thanks to more consistent dispersion. And that's what I really liked about Tennessee, and the reason I talked about that so much. In my perfect world, Tennessee would have some nerfs even, including that raised citadel, worse concealment. I don't think a cruiser should ever be outspotted by a battleship, much less one that can just easily, consistently dev strike it off the map. And that's the perfect world thing I was talking about. I didn't make that clear enough, so I do apologize. When it comes to the actual balance of this ship in the game, I think it's pretty well balanced. I think it's going to be a hard ship to play. There's a lot of skill involved in it. You're more rewarded for playing well, aiming well, catching people off guard. So you're going to see the best players do better than they would in other ships that are a little bit more dependent on RNG. At the same time though, you're going to have people who aren't as good at the game do much worse in this ship compared to the average battleship, because this ship is more compromised. It's going to punish you harder from not aiming correctly, but also mispositioning. It is absurdly slow, and 32 millimeters of armor, well, that's not great these days, let's just say that. You're gonna get overmatched by some of the tier 10 ships, right? 460s and above, if you get into that matchmaker. But a lot of cruisers have 32 millimeters of pen and are going to burn you down very, very quickly. So it's good. I really do like it. I really like it. And I think it's pretty well balanced. It's really fun for me. It's exactly what I've been asking for a very long time. I just got a little caught up in the hype and I was so excited to talk about it and what I would like the game to be, because this is such a massive jump in the direction that I would like to see this game go, where cruisers don't have to worry about overmatch nearly as much when they're angled. And when they're broadside, they take more consistent damage because battleships have more accurate guns, like this one shows us. But at the same time, in that perfect hypothetical world, none of the battleships should have underwater citadels. No ship should have underwater citadels, in my opinion. No battleship should ever be outspotting a cruiser, in my opinion. And that's, again, I'm already getting excited to talk about it, because this is like, it's closer to the direction I want the game to go, so I'm just so happy about that. And I'm having so much fun with this ship. But the monetization, guys, the monetization. You'll have to let me know if I'm being too hard on it. But for me, this is a worrying event, because I don't know what this event fully looks like. And I'm worried that that means the monetization here is going to make it very difficult to earn this ship for free. And by the time we realize it's difficult to earn the ship for free, it's too late to buy it outright, and the only thing left is gambling on the loot boxes. That's my worry. Also, I just still don't know the cost of Enterprise, if that's at the end of all the mission chains that you unlock the ability to purchase it. Still don't know what that purchase price will be. I highly doubt it will be a normal cost, probably an Admiral pack, maybe even more than a Tennessee Admiral pack. So I would expect to pay at least the 130 Canadian for this ship, probably around $100 US, I would guess. Not entirely sure there on the conversion of that, but I would not say Enterprise would be cheaper than the Tennessee as a direct purchase, however you unlock the ability to purchase it. It's going to be more, maybe even 10, 20, 30% more than Tennessee. That would be the guess, considering it is such a rare ship and it hasn't been offered for sale in a very, very long time. Last game here that I have to show for you. I've got plenty more, but I just had to show you guys the highlights because it is so fun. I'm going to be playing it a ton more. It's quickly becoming one of my favorite ships in the entire game. Maybe even dethroning Massachusetts as my favorite tier 10 battleship. There's Halsey Confederate. We got a lot of Halsey Confederates while playing this thing. It's the reason being is, I mean, I love battleships and brawling, the action, the secondaries. But even more than that, I love consistently punishing bad plays. I love being able to consistently push in, catch someone off guard, catch someone in a bad position, and dev strike them. That, for me, is even more fun than the secondary brawling. So if they offered ships like this at tier 10, and you had to tell me I can either play, let's say, the Libertad, or an equivalent of Tennessee at tier 10, I personally would enjoy that Tennessee equivalent more. I just love the ability that this ship has to, I mean, come on. I mean, that's just awesome, right? It's so fun. It is so much fun. And I guess that's me just like hyper advertising for Wargaming in showing you how insanely fun this ship is and just gushing over it. But I had to get the monetization stuff in there too. We have to criticize that. I mean, absolutely ridiculous game to end it on. And decent credits as well, because again, we are that premium ship. So we're going to be earning credits very, very well with this thing. And as for the build here on the Tennessee, for me, it really hasn't changed all that much. I'm being a little bit greedy, certainly, to be taking things like heavy AP, trying to up that damage even further just to get even more dev strikes. But it means you burn a lot longer with this ship, and considering its weakness is the survivability, lower HP, worse armor, at least to HE, again, that underwater citadel I'm not a huge fan of. Honestly, I say it's well balanced, but maybe it's because I'm getting so rewarded with this ship for my, you know, I'm pretty decent at this game, okay? I'm feeling quite rewarded for it. I wouldn't mind, like, it could use a waterline citadel, like, my hypothetical perfect world is an above water citadel for every ship, but let's just ignore that. Let's say for the game as it stands, can we just at least get a waterline citadel, you know? Maybe a little worse detection. Like what do we think about waterline citadel, kilometer and a half worse detection, like 13 kilometers detection, but it gets the Vermont acceleration. Huh? Trade offer? Right? I think that would be interesting. It would make it more fun to play because it's so slow, guys. It is so slow. You have to really love and value the consistent main guns to enjoy this ship. Otherwise, I mean, I totally understand the people who will not enjoy this ship. I totally get you because it's painfully slow. It's really, really bad on the speed and maneuverability. But this is the build that I have been running on it. Trying to get those extra heals, because again, the faster cooldown on the heals is quite nice. And then still with brisk, and you're still just incredibly slow. Gun feeder here is really nice because the HE is pretty strong. We already went over that in the other video, but very good reload, good damage, decent fire chance, and considering you have such small caliber guns into angled targets, you probably should be swapping over to that HE. And the upgrades look a little something like this. Swapped over to Damage Control Party, Mod 1, because a 30-second damage control immunity time, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And you can time that correctly around islands and that, or going dark, and it allows you to deal with those fires a little bit easier if you time it right. If you don't, it can be a detriment because you're taking a longer time to get to that next activation of removing all the fires on your ship. That's going to do it for today's video on the Leyte Gulf event and monetization, and a few dev strikes from the Tennessee because, well, I had to show you. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.